Welcome back to The Explainer. So today we're diving straight into a totally game-changing concept from Dr. Kumud Singhal's book, Stay Cool, Stay Happy. Now, what you're seeing here beautifully captures an ancient concept that simply translates to accommodation. And seriously, once we unpack this, you're going to see how mastering this one single idea can completely rewire how you handle frustration and, well, how you deal with the difficult people in your life. Let's get right into it.
To really wrap our heads around this, I want you to picture something. Have you ever spent literally hours creating something beautiful only to have someone carelessly, completely ruin it in a matter of seconds? In the book, Dr. Singhal tells this incredibly relatable story about two young girls. They spend an entire afternoon meticulously arranging this stunning, peaceful Zen garden on their outdoor patio. You know, getting the sand perfectly smooth, placing the stones just right, the whole shebang. And then reality hits. Or actually, scratch that, a 5-year-old with a garden hose hits. Their neighbor's little grandson runs over. He's honestly just trying to be helpful and water some nearby plants, but bam. He accidentally blasts the girl's pristine Zen garden with a high-pressure jet of water. In literally seconds, hours of incredibly hard work turn into a muddy pit. Now, the girl's immediate reaction is exactly what yours or mine would be, right? Just absolute, overwhelming frustration and a massive urge to get really angry. Section 1. Forgiveness versus accommodation. The trap of the ego. So the older girl takes a breath and decides she's just gonna forgive the little boy, mostly because she's older and supposed to be more mature. Sounds like the right move, right? Well, here is where Dr. Singhal introduces a really fascinating paradigm shift. Turns out, forgiveness can actually be a pretty massive trap for ego. Think about it. When you say, I forgive you, you're kind of putting yourself up on a pedestal. It's often driven by pride, this subtle feeling of, hey, I am better than you, so I am graciously pardoning you. Accommodation, on the other hand, that's about being vast. It's simply accepting the facts as they are and allowing people to be exactly who they are. In this case, it's realizing a 5-year-old is just behaving exactly the way a 5-year-old behaves. Section 2. The ocean and the mud. Absorbing the impact. Here's a great way to visualize it. Imagine you are the vast ocean. If someone makes a mistake, like a little kid ruining a garden, that's just a single cup of mud being tossed into the water. If your mindset is as vast as the ocean, that cup of mud is just naturally absorbed. There is absolutely no way it can change your peaceful, clear nature. You don't have to forgive the mud for being dirty, you just accept that it is mud, and you remain the ocean. Pretty powerful stuff. But what happens when we're not talking about an innocent mistake from a kid? What if someone in your life is actively toxic or hostile? Section 3. The monk and the scorpion. Protecting your peace. Well, that brings us to an ancient parable from the book. Picture a monk bathing in a river. He spots a drowning scorpion and reaches out to save it. But the second he does, the scorpion stings his hand. Ouch, right? In pain, the monk drops it. But instead of just walking away, he tries again, and he gets stung again. Meanwhile, there's a disciple watching all this from the riverbank, completely baffled. Why on earth does this monk keep trying to help a creature that's actively hurting him? Finally, the monk spots a large leaf, uses it to safely scoop the scorpion out of the water, and saves it without getting stung. When that totally confused disciple asks why he didn't just let the hostile little guy drown, the monk drops this incredibly profound reply. The nature of a scorpion is to sting, but that doesn't change my nature. My nature is to help. It's such a brilliant realization. We should never, ever let someone else's hostile actions alter our own kind character. We control our nature, regardless of what the people around us are doing. Section 4. Protecting your inner nature. Understanding deep habits. So, we can actually use that scorpion's instinct to understand why the people in our daily lives act unfairly or try to bring us down. It all comes down to what the book calls inner nature. Basically, this is a person's deepest habits, their conditioning, and their ingrained responses to the world. When that guy at work or that person in your class is just consistently rude, they are usually just acting out their own deep-seated conditioning. They're struggling with their own stuff. It's exactly like the scorpion. It's stinging because it is literally the only defense mechanism it knows. And here is the absolutely crucial, practical takeaway from all of this. You can accommodate someone's difficult inner nature and still protect yourself, just like the monk did when he used that leaf, without having to sting them back. Accommodation does not mean you become a doormat. No way. It just means you set smart boundaries, your leaf, while remaining the balanced, peaceful person you naturally are. You flat out refuse to let their sting turn you into a scorpion yourself. Section 5.
A rose for the neighbor. Fake it till you make it. Okay, so how do we actually apply this in our real, chaotic, modern lives, especially when we really, really don't want to? Well, the book shares this great experiment a young girl tried with her notoriously grumpy neighbor. On day 1, she decides to give him a rose from her garden. But here's the catch. She does it with a grumpy face. She's totally faking the kindness, literally building a case in her head like, he doesn't deserve this, he's just mean. But she sticks with it. By day 4, her own grumpiness actually starts to fade. She begins to see that he's not really a monster. He's just a lonely guy who completely forgot how to connect with people. And by day 7, she hands over the rose with a genuine smile, and guess what? The neighbor finally smiles back and thanks her. Which brings us to the core, game-changing lesson of this whole explainer. Accommodation is the secret to a happy self. Giving people the grace and the space to be exactly who they are without immediately reacting to them emotionally protects your own happiness. It preserves your energy. You're just letting facts be facts. And sometimes, yeah, just like that girl with the rose, you might kind of have to fake that accommodation until the understanding catches up and makes it real in your heart. So I want to leave you with a thought to carry into the rest of your week. Who in your life do you need to give a rose to today? Seriously, think of that one difficult person, that scorpion in your office, your class, or maybe even your family. How can you practice accommodating their inner nature today while fiercely protecting your own vast, oceanic peace? Give it a try and see how it totally transforms your energy. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer, and keep learning.